All right, well, it's time for this morning's Bull Run where we go over the top stories of the day. Let's get into it. There's a lot of them. First up, Tether. Yep, the company famous for running the world's largest stablecoin while being allergic to audits has decided that it's time to look respectable right here in America. So they've hired Bo Hines, former head of Trump's White House Crypto Council, as their shiny new U.S. strategy advisor. Because when you're trying to prove you're compliant and trustworthy, why not bring in a guy whose previous job was writing crypto policy for the Trump administration? Now, Hines' role is to help Tether shape and execute its U.S. market entry. Or in other words, kiss babies, shake hands, and convince lawmakers that Tether isn't about to accidentally nuke the dollar. In his statement, Hines waxed poetic about how stablecoins can modernize payments and increase financial inclusion, which is a nice way of saying your bank sucks, so please just let us do it instead. He also promised Tether would deliver an ecosystem of products that will set the standard for stability, compliance, and innovation, which are bold words from a company that spent years dodging regulators like they were bill collectors. Meanwhile, CEO Paolo Adorno says Bo's understanding of the legislative process and practical blockchain use cases will be vital. Because clearly what Tether was missing wasn't transparency or audits, it was a lobbyist with really good hair. Great hair on that guy, look at it. Now the timing is suspiciously convenient. Tether is trying to move into the US market just as new stablecoin laws under the Genius Act are taking shape. So yeah, nothing says we're serious about compliance quite like hiring the guy who helped draft the rule book. Now, whether this ends in a warm handshake with regulators or another congressional hearing, Tether wants in. And it's bringing a former White House insider to make sure the door actually opens. All right, and joining us today, we have one of our good friends of the program, Anton from Xapo Bank. Anton, how are you, my friend? Welcome back to the show. It's always a pleasure having you on.
Hello, Hank. Good morning. Very excited to be back. Bitcoin is falling, so before you ask your question, let me go and buy some, and I'll be right back.
I love it. You got so much spunk, especially for a new parent recently. How's that going? Everything good in your world? You getting enough sleep? You look great.
Yeah, I look great. I look great because I buy Bitcoin pretty much all the time. My baby is a Bitcoin holder. He's probably the youngest Bitcoin holder in the world. But yeah, I mean, everything is great, and I'm excited to see what's happening today.
I love it. Start him young. All right, we're gonna read this story and come right back to you, Anton. So stay pat, my friend. We'll be rejoining you in just a second. All right, and we're back. Sorry about that delay, friends. If you've been watching the show, you will remember that we had this bird get loose in the studio recently, and I think he's brought friends, and they're all just chewing up our fiber optic cables, so it's wreaking havoc on the studio here. Luckily, they bought me a BB gun, so it's hunting season later. But we're back, so let's get into it. And we're going to start again with a very fun math problem for you. Out of Bitcoin's 21 million hard cap supply, about 19.6 million have already been mined. That's about 93.3% of the total, which means only 1.4 million BTC is left to come into existence. And thanks to halvings, that trickle will drag on all the way to the year 2140. Yeah, that's the last Satoshis will be mined long after all of us are dust, which makes Bitcoin's scarcity even more absurd than it already is. Now, by 2035, 99% of all Bitcoin will be mined. But that final fraction, well, it's basically Zeno's paradox, but with money. It keeps shrinking forever, but never fully disappears. Now, add in the fact that somewhere between 3 and 3.8 million coins are likely gone forever. Lost wallets, destroyed hard drives, Satoshi's silent stash. So the true circulating supply isn't 21 million. It's probably closer to 16 or 17 million, which means each coin is even scarcer than people think. And unlike gold, which can be melted, recycled, and hoarded by central banks, lost Bitcoin is dead and gone forever. And that engineered scarcity is why Bitcoin's value keeps climbing while fiat gets inflated into confetti. But what happens when all the Bitcoin is mined? Won't miners just pack it up? Nope. The reason is the network has built-in self-correcting feedback loops. If mining isn't profitable, difficulty drops. making it cheaper to mine. That's why when China banned mining in 2021 and the global hash rate cratered 50%, the network didn't miss a beat. Mining continued, difficulty adjusted, and Bitcoin went right on ticking. Even when block rewards approach zero, miners will rely on transaction fees. In fact, in April of 2024, miners earned more in fees than block rewards for the first time ever, $80 million in a single day. And for the environmental FUD crowd out there, more than half of Bitcoin mining is already powered by renewables. Because miners chase the cheapest energy, and guess what? The cheapest energy is usually surplus and clean. So the next time someone says Bitcoin uses too much energy, remind them the real problem is that dollars keep getting printed like toilet paper. Bitcoin is scarce, unprintable, and unlosable, unless you're the guy who threw out his hard drive in Wales in that dumpster. Ugh, that must have been brutal. All right, we're bringing Anton back. Anton, with 93% of Bitcoin already mined and millions already lost forever, do you think the market truly grasps how scarce Bitcoin actually is?
Understand what's happening. It's taking time for people to really comprehend that the Bitcoin will be mined in 2140 a year. So Hank, right now we are producing approximately 450 Bitcoins per day, and you can see that the treasury companies are buying much more. What's happening is that we still have a lot of OGs that are selling, but very, very soon their selling power will disappear, and then it's very clear that the Bitcoin price will skyrocket from here. And Hank, you mentioned something that there are approximately 6 million coins that have been lost. We should not underestimate the power of quantum computers. There was a very interesting quantum summit organized by Presidio Bitcoin a few weeks ago, and they brought one of the best quantum experts in the world, one of the best Bitcoin experts also in the world, and approximately 6 point something million Bitcoins, they are lost according to our understanding, but those coins will be they will be accessible in a few years from now, because from the public key you can derive the private key and you can access those coins. So at some point the statement that those coins are lost forever, it may not be the case, especially with the quantum computers. But I'm not that concerned of this, because at the end, like Bitcoin is supposed to be the medium of exchange. Satoshi designed the most superior way of money to be self-sustainable. So at some point, the miners will actually be collecting fees. And what's going to happen, and what I can envision, is that after the Bitcoin, all of the available Bitcoin have been mined, Bitcoin it's going to become a medium of exchange. And Satoshi designed this in the white paper, saying Bitcoin is electronic peer-to-peer cash payment system, and you should be able to settle everything on top of Bitcoin. And I don't know if you are aware, or people that are watching are aware, but right now there are 9.3 billion transactions that are happening per day. Let me repeat, 9.3, and this is data from McKinsey. I'm not just coming with this data. And now imagine if most of this transactional volume is happening on top of Bitcoin. Can someone say that miners are not going to make enough money from transactional fees? No, of course they're going to make a lot of money. It is going to ensure the Bitcoin network is secure enough, it's robust, and no one can attack it. So I'm super excited for what's coming, and yeah, there are some threats like the quantum computing, but I think at the end Bitcoin will win, as the network always won so far.
Yeah, that's super interesting to hear about quantum computing. I was not aware that it could open up the possibility of potentially retrieving lost Bitcoin. So it really seems like quantum computing is the wild card in the Bitcoin space going forward, for both perceivably good reasons, but also not so good reasons, as a lot of people think it could potentially crack the network. But only time will tell, and I'm sure the people will be, the Bitcoin people of the world will be making the correct adjustments with quantum computing to, be ready for when that comes, because I think that's a future that we're going to be seeing a lot sooner than we think, but I think we'll be ready for it. Another interesting thing about this story, I thought, was that by 2035, which is only 9.5 years away from right now, 99% of Bitcoin will have been mined. How do you see that scarcity impacting price discovery over the next decade? Because that's a big number to wrap your head around. That's almost all of it.
Yeah, exactly. And compare Bitcoin with the gold. It's very predictable how much Bitcoins will be mined until the end of the world, pretty much. And then on comparing Bitcoin with gold, there is approximately 1.7% new gold which is mined every year. And then on top of that, you have Bitcoin, which mining is diminishing over years. So whoever is saying gold is better than Bitcoin, it's very, very wrong, because at some point we are not going to have enough new Bitcoins. And then what's going to happen then is that the demand for Bitcoin will constantly increase, as it was increasing in the past over 15 years. And then the price, it's very clear what will happen. We know what's going to happen. It's going to appreciate a lot. So I doubt anyone can argue that the Bitcoin price is not going to increase because of the halvings that are planned to happen every 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And people talk about the gold scarcity thing. I'm pretty sure I just read an article that there was a new mine they found in Asia that's got several $1 billion worth of gold. There's always a meteor passing by that they say has like trillions of dollars worth of gold on it. We saw the movie Armageddon. They can just send astronauts up there and mine it. So, Bitcoin, obviously, the scarcity is much better there. And from your perspective over at Xapo, how should institutions be thinking about Bitcoin scarcity when allocating capital today versus waiting until the supply gets even tighter tomorrow?
What we are seeing, Hank, is that there is a FOMO right now from corporates. They are urging to buy Bitcoin. Xapo right now is offering this opportunity to buy and store Bitcoin in a regulated bank. We are one of the first, if not the first, regulated bank offering this opportunity. From a positive side, we have more and more corporate customers that are interested, but also it's taking time. You can see in some of the traditional financial companies, it's taking a lot of time for them to convince their board how Bitcoin can help their treasury operations to optimize their holdings. And also, we still face the issue with Bitcoin volatility, because once you have Bitcoin in your order book, basically this is changing your risk models. Now your volatility is increasing, and it's just taking time for those very legacy quantitative models to be adjusted with the new asset type like Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is very new for corporations and for corporate customers. So it's taking time, but the trend is very clear. There is more and more interest in this area.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the fact that it is taking time is really indicative of the maturation process of Bitcoin and how it's not just a tulip frenzy, right? If this was something that blew up overnight and everybody was doing it, I'd be a lot more concerned about a quick crash. But we're in year 16 right now. It's been a slow and steady up and to the right, so to speak. Sometimes it's been kind of parabolic at the beginning. But I think that this pace is really indicative of the fact that Bitcoin is here to stay, and a lot of those haters out there are going to be eating their words, as we've seen them do for the last 16 years, including of which we got one in this next story I want to talk about with you in just a second, so hang tight, because Justin Bonds, he's the founder of Cyber Capital, is out here waving the old doom flag, warning that Bitcoin could collapse in the next 7 to 11 years. His case, well, by 2036, the block rewards shrink to just 0.39 Bitcoin. That's about $2.3 billion a year at today's prices. Sounds like a lot until you realize that that's supposed to secure a multi-trillion-dollar network. Bond says that math screams bargain bin 51% attack. He also blames Bitcoin's stubborn governance. Or in other words, core devs refused to print more coins or pump block sizes during the block size wars. And Bonds thinks that rigidity is a ticking time bomb for splits or forced inflation. And then there's the old quantum computing boogeyman that we spoke of earlier. Bonds claims that one day a quantum computer will roll up like a hacker with a God mode cheat code and snap Bitcoin's cryptography like a Kit Kat bar. Opinions on this, they tend to vary. Yeah, I don't like it either. I don't like it. I love Kit Kats, though. Opinions on this do vary, however. Google's Craig Gidney thinks the danger zone is actually between 2030 and 2035. Adam Back laughs and says it's 2 decades away. And Shamith Palihapitiya basically screams any day now. So in Bond's telling, Bitcoin will die from underfunded security, developer stubbornness, or a quantum AI terminator, whichever one ends up showing up first. But here's the kicker. People have been calling Bitcoin dead 474 times already, and every single time, Bitcoin just shrugs, gets stronger, and makes the obituary writer look like the punchline. There's actually a website, I forget, we talked about it on the show, where you can actually check out all of the instances in which Bitcoin was called dead. You can Google it. It's a good listen and read. So will bonds be right this time? That's the big question, right? Well, maybe. But if you're betting against Bitcoin, history suggests you'll be the one holding the end of the short stick. We're bringing Anton back. Anton, Justin Bonds claims Bitcoin's block rewards will shrink too much to secure the network. You seem to not think this is a legitimate concern based on what we talked about previously. What do you think? Do you think this could be a concern? Is there any room for that? Or do you think that the reward sizes from transactions will be enough for Bitcoin miners to continue securing the network in the future?
Hank, I think this is one of the weakest arguments ever presented by anyone on Twitter, and I saw a lot of arguments explaining how the Bitcoin will die. Let's see what the author is saying. So he's estimating approximately 2.3 billion annual security budget from mining new Bitcoins in 11 years from now. We all agree this is a very small number, and yes, potentially this can lead to a 51% attack under the Bitcoin network. But Hank, this is according to the current Bitcoin prices. So we believe, everyone watching this show believes that the Bitcoin will cost $115,000 in 2035, which is 11 years from now, or 10 years from now. I personally don't believe it, because the Bitcoin price appreciated from $400 10 years ago to 115,000 for less than 11 years. So do we expect the same to happen in 10 years? Most probably yes. And the Bitcoin is showing 40% price appreciation year by year. And someone arguing that the Bitcoin price will be exactly the same 10, 11 years from now, it's very hard to believe. And if this is the case, I think this having a potential security attack over the Bitcoin network is going to be our smallest problem. And then think about from the inflation point of view, like the inflation is going like crazy, and probably the purchasing power of 100,000 Bitcoins 10 years from now will be the equivalent of 50, 60,000 purchasing power today. So extremely fragile argument. The history is showing that the Bitcoin is increasing 40% per year. And considering the regulatory environment, having more and more very, very long-term buyers like like treasury companies or corporates, I think the chances are naive to think that this will happen. And then if you want, we can analyze also the argument that we just checked earlier about how the Bitcoin has been designed, and the fact that we have 9.3 billion payments per day, according to McKinsey. And once we migrate to Bitcoin to be a medium of exchange and settlement layer of any type of transaction, then miners will have more than enough incentives, and they are going to be stimulated to keep securing the network and validating transactions. Of course, in order for this to happen, we have to keep building. It's fully on us, and I'm very proud to be helping to fulfill Satoshi vision to help the Bitcoin to become a medium of exchange. At Xapo, we are very soon going to enable our customers to deposit any fiat currency from anywhere in the world 24/7 without any delays, instantly. And this will happen on top of Bitcoin. And from those 9.3 billion transactions, I believe very, very soon, a significant portion of them will settle on top of Bitcoin. And earlier today, Hank, there was a news from SoFi, very popular bank in the US. They're enabling this. So
Yeah.
they're actually joining Xapo, which makes me very proud and very
Oh.
excited about the future. Yeah, because that's the Satoshi vision. Like Bitcoin was not designed to be a digital gold. Is it a digital gold? Yes, it is. Is it the best store of value? It is. But also, it's supposed to be a digital electronic cash payment system, and we are making sure Satoshi vision will happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's Satoshi soldiers like yourself and me and everyone out there that are helping fulfill that vision. And you make some really great points, right? Bonds' prediction is very much based on the ecosystem of today and not accounting for what that ecosystem is going to look like in the future. With Bitcoin going up and to the right always for the last 16 years, you would have to expect more of the same. And then to your point as well, when people start using Bitcoin even more so as payment transactions, there's going to be a lot more rewards for miners to receive as a result of validating those transactions and what will undoubtedly be a much more robust network at that time. So you make some really good points that he didn't seem to account for. Another thing that Bonds did mention that was interesting was that he was also arguing that Bitcoin governance is too rigid. From your view, is Bitcoin's refusal to change supply or block sizes actually a weakness, or is it actually its greatest strength? What do you think?
The best thing about Bitcoin is that it's open source. You can go and create your own Bitcoin, and then you can increase the market cap to be 100 million coins or 1 billion or 1 trillion. It's up to you. Everyone is free to create their own Bitcoin. But I doubt this guy will do it because at the end, Bitcoin is empowered by its community, but all of us supporting the network, making sure that we are building to increase the adoption. So that's the beauty of the Bitcoin. Like it's open source, everyone can increase the governance, improve, change whatever they want. But at the end, Bitcoin shown during the block wars 10 years ago, 8 years ago actually, that you can copy Bitcoin, but it's never going to be successful enough because at the end, the design of the Bitcoin is unique, it's optimal, and then we should not change it. And everyone who is opposing changes to the Bitcoin design, they're either doing this for their own financial benefit or they're just bad actors, being unhappy they didn't buy Bitcoin earlier. So Hank, yeah, I don't think this will happen. And if someone wants to do it, they're free to do it. Like no one is really stopping them. I wanted also
Yeah,
to
I
make a
know.
point regarding
Yeah, please.
the quantum computing because this guy is arguing about the quantum computing. And this is the only valid argument which we have to take seriously, and I believe the entire community is taking seriously. Because a few weeks ago, there was the first quantum computing summit happening in San Francisco, organized by Presidio Bitcoin, and very smart experts analyzed the threats. And yeah, it's a fact that we need to act. We have approximately 5 years to ensure the Bitcoin will survive the quantum attacks. And what is really interesting, that's a huge topic we can discuss separately. It's about what we should do with approximately 6.5 million Bitcoins, including the Satoshi coins that are supposed to be lost. What we're going to do with those coins, because at some point, a bad actor using quantum computing, they're going to break and access those coins. So should we try to prevent this from happening? And this is a very philosophical question. Or we just have to allow it because
Yeah.
the Bitcoin was designed to be like not to be able to be enforced from other external parties. So at some point, you can imagine that if we have approximately 6 million Bitcoins that can be accessed from a quantum computing attack, they can be sold, which will like damage the price temporarily, of course.
Right.
But then if we try to avoid this from happening, then we are acting against one of the Satoshi principles for the Bitcoin price to not be, for the Bitcoin network to not be able to change from anyone. So yeah, those are very interesting points. I think the quantum computing threat is very valid, but we still have time. One of the best minds are working towards ensuring the Bitcoin network will sustain during the quantum computing life world. So yeah, I think we're on the right path, definitely.
Yeah, you got to imagine you have people like the Lazarus Group out of North Korea are probably hoping to utilize quantum computing, eyeing up those idle Bitcoins like a Wolverine looking at a pork chop. So, but like you said, we have Presidio Bitcoin and so many others in the community that are looking to thwart those types of actions in the future. So I feel pretty safe about where we are right now and where we're going, because I think this is very much on everyone's radar. Bonds, though, does paint an interesting picture of Bitcoin's demise. Yet history, as you and I know, shows that Bitcoin has survived 474 deaths already. And we actually found the website. It's called 99bitcoins.com, where you can check out all the times people said that Bitcoin was dead. So it begs the question, Anton, why do you think smart people keep underestimating Bitcoin's resilience? We've seen it now 474 times. Why do they keep doing it?
I will quote Saylor. He's saying everyone buys Bitcoin at the price they deserve. It takes time to fully understand Bitcoin. It takes time to study Bitcoin. It's requiring ambition. It's requiring desire to really understand the problem which Bitcoin is solving at the first place, why it was designed. I think you saw what Ray Dalio, arguably the most successful hedge fund manager in the world with Bridgewater, he was saying less than 5 years ago that the Bitcoin will go to zero. This was during COVID. And right now, Bridgewater is advising their clients to have up to 15% of their portfolio invested in Bitcoin through ETFs. And this is not like a number that I'm just coming with. Those are like official data points. So yeah, it's taking time for people to understand, but once they understand it, I can tell you, once a person understands Bitcoin, they will never go and say, this is bullshit and it's not going to work. So yeah, I mean, hopefully, together with Xapo, we can build the right products and people can really, if not study, at least experience the power of Bitcoin and then understand it.
Yeah, and I think it's an education thing, and I love that you brought up that Saylor quote. People absolutely get or buy Bitcoin at the price they deserve, and it all comes down to when are you going to be willing to put in the time and effort to do your own research? Because once people do, Michael Saylor being one of them, wasn't always a Bitcoin proponent, did the research back in 2019, 2020. Now he is our Lord and Sailor, Michael Saylor, the godfather of Bitcoin promotion at this point. There he is. Hey, buddy. So yeah, I totally agree with you. And with all the things you guys are doing at Xapo, I'm sure there's a lot of people in our audience that are seeing you for the first time, that are tuning into the show for the first time. Where can they learn more about you and everything you and the team at Xapo are doing to make Bitcoin a better place in the world for all of us?
Hank, we're on Twitter. We are publishing regular blog posts. Everyone can check our website, xapobank.com. We are really trying to ensure the Bitcoin is going to be successful. We were established 2013. It was the largest Bitcoin custodian in the world. And again, the mission is to just help Bitcoin succeed. So yeah, just check our website, check our Twitter and or X. And we're going to be happy to interact with literally everyone watching this show. Yeah.
Love it. Anton, as always, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on the Blockchain Report today. It's always a treat getting to go over the top stories with you. And take care of that youngest Bitcoiner in the world over there, Dad. You're doing great. And we can't wait to have you back on the show again real soon, buddy.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. See you soon.
Thank you. Pleasure's mine. All right, we're taking a break, but when we're back, more top stories. And in just a bit, we'll be joined by our special guests of the day, Max Kaiser and Stacy Herbert, to talk shop. You won't want to miss it. All of that coming up and more on the Blockchain Report right after this.
Security matters. Xapo Bank. The only way to bank your Bitcoin. Apply now at xapobank.com.